Hello everyone, it's your favorite talking eggplant here, and today we're playing part 11 of Blackberry Honey. Don't really have anything to add, so let's just get into it. So last time we ended up... Yes, we went to visit Tawa to look at her violin, and we ran into Theodora and Emily, who we had met a while ago back, but now we're actually having, well, us as Lori, we're not really talking to them, but we're seeing them talk to each other and Tawa. Anyway, my little Lori, is something wrong? Lorraine aside, I'm fine. If you really were fine, you wouldn't be pulling such a face. What face? Dude, she knows you so well already. Like you've just seen a beloved family pet get hit by a carriage. You're reading into it too deeply. I'm fine, I promise. And you're not jealous, are you? Jealous? Of what? I'm not sure. Perhaps you should tell me that. There are many things I could be jealous about, but jealousy is a sin, and it's not a productive way to spend my time. Well, if you're sure, I was worried you might be envious of my relationship with these two lovely ladies. No. You're lying. I know you are. So you're not? Not at all. Not even a little bit? Bro, she has you pinned. She knows. Lorena shook her head. Tahua smiled. Well, good. It would be foolish to be jealous. My relationship with these women is one of business. I have been a customer of the Theodoras for quite some time, and where Theodora is, Emily is never too far away. Oh, Tahua, how cruel. We have known one another for years, and you say our relationship is strictly one of business? I even brought you home to meet my parents. I had your father appraise my violin. I was hardly seeking his approval for a future wedding. Oh, how this wounds me. Oh, how she wounds me. Oh my god, did she die? Theodora collapsed back against her chair, one hand held on her quivering bosom. I fear my heart will break. I cannot go on. This world has not been kind to me. Now I must depart. If you do decide to snuff it, would you kindly reimburse me beforehand? I don't pay people for unfinished work. That's the most animated I've ever seen a sprite in this game. Up to date. Theodora sniffled, wiping imaginary tears from the corner of her eyes. You drive a hard bargain. It is the best way to get things done. My sister is very talented at her craft, but she is unforgivingly lazy. You need to give her a prod every once in a while, or she will fall into inertia. You don't need to prod too hard. Have an adorable little sister around who demands only the finest clothes and ribbons for her hair is incentive enough to work. Tawa tapped her fingers against the inside of her arm. It has been a week, Theodora. And I already told you, it will take longer than a week. I know your violin is important to you. You've brought it in for maintenance enough times, and I don't want to rush it. Were you hoping to discover something new by returning here so soon? Not particularly. I just wanted to show off. Show off? I thought my little Lori might be interested in seeing my violin. It is my pride and joy, after all, and I enjoy letting others gaze upon it. You make it sound like something indecent. How is a mother showing off her baby indecent? There can be nothing pure. They can look but not touch, Indeed. You are the only one, other than myself, who is permitted to fondle something so precious. And she says our relationship is strictly business. What am I, a strumpet? Sometimes I do wonder. Emmy, are you trying to damage my reputation? You damage it enough yourself, sister. When you drink too much gin and then start swearing like a sailor. Shh, that's a secret. It's all right, Theodora. I know all about your vices already. I don't have any vices. I'm as pure as the driven snow. If you want to discount the gin. And the cursing. She doesn't even go to church every single Sunday. How scandalous. Says you. You don't go to church at all. I'm sure our Father up in heaven, hallowed be his name, etc., etc., won't mind if I miss a sermon or two here and there. Nobody's perfect. Least of all you. There are many areas I am deficient in, but caring for instruments is not one of them. In fact, I shall prove it. You can be the judge of this yourself, Lorena. Who, me? That's right. Tahua came here to show off her baby, did she not? I'll go and fetch it for her. But, I don't know anything about music. It's fine. You don't need to understand fine art to appreciate it. If you have eyes, you'll see what I mean soon enough. And, just as Theodora had said. Wow. Lorena blinked at the instrument, sitting innocuously on the table. The sunlight streamed in through the open window, laying across the wooden casing so it shimmered. Its casing was a soft, nutty brown, with reddish hues running through it, and it contrasted beautifully with the dark black of the ebony neck. The violin was round in shape, soft, almost feminine, somehow, and practically seemed to invite caresses from wandering fingertips. It was the kind of instrument that begged to be played, even by a clumsy girl like Lorena, who could not have coaxed a single note out of it, let alone a soaring concerto. Though its delicate hourglass-shaped body was marked here and there with small scratches, it was an undeniable work of art. Lorena felt almost humbled to imagine the hands that must have pored over the creation such a precise, perfect object of beauty almost... How old had Tawa said it was? More than a century? It was incredible, really, that the instrument had survived for such a protracted period of time, particularly given how thin the neck looked. It was just like the stem of a flower. It must have been cared for tenderly. That was probably why the maple wood was marked here and there with scuffs. It was not because the violin was unloved. In fact, it was quite the opposite. To be loved is to be changed. The violin was scarred precisely because Tatwa cared for it so deeply that she continued to play it. If you loved something, you did not simply let it sit in a corner and gather dust. True love was only displayed by continuous use, and this violin had been used frequently. But that only made it all the more attractive. Some Minecraft music. It really is beautiful. Indeed it is. I knew you would understand, my little Lori. It's a true work of art. Any collector would kill to have it in their collection. Literally kill? Yes, quite literally. There are few things in life worth committing murder over, but a violin like this. To end another's life in a jet of crimson for the sake of such a fine specimen. I can understand that perfectly. Emily observed her sister with narrowed eyes. Much like Queen Victoria, she did not look amused. I know you've been eyeing it up for a while, sister. Hey, don't make insinuations about my trustworthiness, Emmy. I would never steal an instrument from a client. You better not, Theo, or I would hurt you. I wouldn't. A lot. I don't know what it is about that smile on Taohua, but it's like... it's kind of creepy. Theodora gulped. Lorna had to admit there was something rather troubling about Taohua's statement. Her wide smile didn't really help. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how to say, it's like evil. Emily, for her part, remained unmoved by the thought of her sister's impending demise. If you do get hurt, sister, you deserve it. You act like an old man chasing the ankles of a pretty young chit. She's so desperate, it's almost endearing. Sister is always desperate. You're the only chit here, you saucebox, and you're not very pretty when you're being so obnoxious. Ow. Emily winced as Theodora delivered a swift jab of retribution upon her blonde crown. I'll admit it. I would love to own something this beautiful. But isn't that natural? We humans live our lives hoping to possess as many beautiful objects as possible. What other purpose is there in life than to accrue riches? You're not Gilgamesh, sister. And I never will be at this rate. Is that violin really worth so very much? You have no idea. No, I don't. That's why I asked. Well, let me put it this way. The group of four glanced back down at Taohua's violin. The sleek, nutty case shimmered as it caught in the dispersed beams of sunlight. Lorna had thought Taohua was joking when she called it her baby. Now, she could see where such a term of endearment had come from. If Lorna had possessed something so precious, she would have babied it too. It's no Stradivarius, but it would fetch quite a handsome sum on the market. A genuine Italian violin from fair Cremona, where we lay our scene. That was Verona. Forgive me, I'm not too well versed in the works of the bard. A violin from Cremona, made by a skilled artisan more than a century ago, is a very desirable piece. In fact, Taohua asked my father to praise it for her about, more than a decade ago, I believe. Don't say that, Theodora. You shouldn't reveal a lady's age. I don't even know how old you are. You haven't seemed to age a day. I do like being mysterious. How you have such a violin is a mystery indeed. Father was shocked when he saw it. Nearly fell off his chair. Grandfather too. I don't think it was a coincidence that he killed over only scant 2 months after he first met you. Father wrote a collector in London for a second opinion to ensure his estimations were correct. And do you know what the collector said, Lorena? What? Lorena already knew the words before the words fell from Theodora's lips. She knew it, but hearing it out loud made it seem even more real somehow. Inarguable. But dizzying improbable. It's worth more than 600 euros. Or pounds. Pounds. That doesn't seem like a lot today. But then that's probably like Whatever, I'll look it up later and then put the numbers up on the screen. I still can't believe it. If people want quality, that's the price they're willing to pay, I suppose. And I only earn 10 pounds per annum. Lorena sighed. Even if I worked until the day I died, I'd never be able to make that much money. Not through honest means. That's obscene. It does seem unfair when you phrase it like that, but that is how commerce works. What are you talking about? That violin is special, unique, a real work of art. You, on the other hand, my little Lori, let's just say, there's no shortage of desperate girls in need of a few bob to rub together. If you stopped working for Lady Leonard, she'd be able to find a replacement for you in due course. I don't like the way she phrased that at all. And the violin? It is a rare treasure, being one of the few known surviving violins that was produced in Cremona in the 1700s. It couldn't be replaced if it was lost or damaged because its worth is proportional to where it was made, who made it, and how old it is. That cannot be replicated. But neither can people. It's nice to know how little I'm worth in comparison to a block of wood. A very pretty, well-crafted block of wood. A block of wood, nonetheless. I think Lorena's a bit upset. You're oversimplifying it, my dear Lori. Don't call me that. Oh, she's mad. You've told me that before, but that hasn't stopped me. Tawa smiled, a soft smile without cruelty, and ruffled the top of Lorena's head. Lorena's hair was very thick and satisfying to ruffle, and Tawa's fingers sunk into it. Naturally, Lorena didn't appreciate this gesture of affection. Get off me. I apologize. You look so cute when you're grumpy, I couldn't help myself. Why do you think I'm grumpy? Oh, I don't know. Because I have in my possession an item that can make my fortune, should I choose to sell it, as Theodora has suggested many, many times before. Still pouting, Lorna began to pat down her loose strands of disheveled hair. Lorena, I think you're a little jealous. The sun, warm and red and perfectly round in the bright blue sky, beat down against her skin. The dark fabric of Lorena's uniform was far too hot. She felt like her skin was going to blister. Perhaps that was another reason why she felt so dispirited. Lorena usually enjoyed the winding countryside walk back to Bly, but right now, tramping across the uneven ground, skirts in her hands, was a pain. It was even more irritating now Lorena was walking with Tawa, who, given her long, willy limbs, was able to cover more ground than Lorena, and far more gracefully. Was she trying to show off? Evidently, it wasn't enough that Tawa had her own private bedroom, an inner sanctum within the wall of a hostile and inhospitable land she could call her own. She also had a hefty nest egg she can rely on. The violin, Italian, crafted in Cremona. Where on earth had Tawa come by such a rare find? She called it an heirloom, but if her family owned such a thing, then they must have been on par with dukes and duchesses. Why, then, was Tawa working as a maid? Probably some, really crazy backstory. Why don't you sell your silly violin? Lorena muttered it mutinously under her breath, but she wasn't discreet enough. Lorena, I'm not gonna lie, you're kinda acting like a child. Tawa still heard her. Are you suggesting that I sell my precious baby, little Lori? Yes, I am. It's the only logical thing to do, isn't it? And what's so logical about it? Would you care to elucidate? Would you care to elaborate? Well, it's obvious. You don't like your job. In fact, you said you hated Lady Constance. And I don't think you care much for Lady Leonard either. If you sold that violin, you could leave Bly behind and live a life of luxury. You wouldn't even need to work. You could go to your beloved London and wear fine clothes and attend the opera. There's all the Mozart you could ever want or need out there. Whereas here... Rita glanced about the cornfields and threw out her arms to demonstrate. There's nothing here at all. No hopes, no dreams, no anything. Marina's chest heaved up and down. Her throat felt dry. It was rare of her to speak her mind like that. After working in a domestic service for so long, she had forgotten how. It didn't behove a maid to say what she was thinking, so Lorena tried not to. She squashed her thoughts and feelings down into the soles of her shoes and trampled them into the dirt. Out of sight, out of mind. But it was different with Taohua. When Lorena was with Taohua, her throat became unstuck, and she found herself saying all kinds of things. Curt, blunt, rude things. But Lorena couldn't help herself. Taohua drew it out of her. She made Lorena act more like herself than anything else. I do understand what you're saying, my Lori, and you raise some good points. There isn't a great deal out here. What with all these flat, boring fields. It's a dull corner of the country, and only a dull kind of life can be had here. Though some of the scenery is pretty, I suppose, I fear I'm not made for such a humdrum manner of existence. Then why do you continue to stay here? I don't know. I wonder that myself sometimes. Maybe I have simply grown accustomed to it. I have been working at Bly for quite some time now, and maybe this is the way it should be. It's the life she chose for me, after all. She? Lady Whitter. Or Whittier? I'm gonna say Whittier. Who? It's not important. She's dead now. Has been for a while. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. You did nothing to cause this sorry state of affairs. You didn't kill Lady Whittier. You didn't kill Lady Whittier. No, but it sounds like she was important to you. She was. Very. So, the violin. Her last gift to me. A very valuable gift. I couldn't thank her enough for it back then, and I certainly can't now. It's too late. And is that why you haven't sold it? Indeed. I'm rather attached. The nostalgia is worth more than any amount of gold. And that's perfectly valid. Even £600? Yes, much more than that. I don't believe it. My. I didn't realize you were so materialistic. I fear I may be more sentimental than you. It isn't like that. You're making me sound so callous. I care about money. That's all. You have to, when you've never had much of it. I know. I'm just teasing. I know our positions in life aren't exactly the same, and I can understand you being offended by my laissez-faire attitude to money. I hope I haven't offended you. I'm not offended, just... It's really annoying. I'm annoying? Yes, incredibly annoying. That didn't stop you from kissing me. That was just... I was tired. Tired, is it? That's right. And does your exhaustion usually manifest in the act of kissing pure, defenseless maidens, my lord? Pure and defenseless? Pure and defenseless indeed. Sure. Don't you sure me, Lorena Noir. I was very surprised. I'll be spoilt for marriage now. Aren't you already too old to get married? How rude. Just how old do you think I am, little madame? I'm not sure. Judging by the way you talk, about 40? Okay, here's my guess. If Florina, and I could be wrong, if Florina's around like 20, which I'm guessing, I'm pretty sure they might have mentioned it, but I think she's like around 20, I'm saying. And she thinks Tawa's older than her. This whole time, in my head, I've been thinking Tawa is around like 30. I want to say 30, but I could be completely wrong. I'm just gonna say 30. You know, I'm gonna stick to it. 40? Well, I never... Of all the nerve... What are you gonna do about it? Hit me with your walking stick? The girls are flirting again. No, but I will do this. What are you... But Lorena wasn't able to finish her inquiry. She could not finish because Tawa pushed her hard. Lorena teetered for a few precarious moments, hovering awkwardly on the balls of her feet. Time seemed to slow, while her hair fluttered in the breeze, her skirts dancing about her legs until... With a loud scream that made the nearby cows scatter, crows. Lorena was thrown off her balance and toppled over backwards into the running river. Huh? Wet petals get a little damp. You really don't need to do this. I know, but I am the one who pushed you. I'm taking responsibility. Okay, see, now I thought Taopa was just gonna push us into the cornfield and then, like, give us a, like, little peck on the cheek. But I never asked you to. But I've decided to take responsibility nevertheless. Because I'm an exceedingly kind person. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Lorena Wah, I'm both shocked and appalled at you. Are you doubting my sincerity? Well, Lorena glanced down at her knees. They were two pale pink islands that just jutted out from the surface of the water. Girl, we can see everything. She shifted, her back pressed against the cool tin tub. The water about her rippled. Droplets of moisture dripped slowly down her neck. Her fringe stuck against her forehead. Damp and moist and underwhelmingly lukewarm. Whenever Lorena found the time to take a bath, the water was never hot. Lukewarm was about as good as it got. In fact, lukewarm was better than it usually was. That was all thanks to Taohua. Lorena had tried to protest, albeit feebly, but Taohua had insisted. In a precise and orderly manner that spoke volumes of Taohua's experience as a maid, the older woman had lit a fire in the laundry room, retrieved the tin tub from its dusty corner, and filled it with water. The whole process, which was so time-consuming most servants rarely bothered, had taken Taohua a scant half hour. It was a miracle on par with Jesus multiplying his bread and fish. Tawa was kneeling on the floor beside Lorena, resting her elbows against the rim of the old, rusted tub. Lorena swallowed. You don't need to stare at me. I know I don't need to, but I want to. But why? Because I like looking. I don't think I'm much to look at. Oh, I wouldn't be so sure. But I'm not pretty like my sisters. I've never met your sisters, so I can't judge. Really, compared to them, I'm incredibly average. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, my Lori, and... Tawa raised an eyebrow. I find that rather hard to believe. Lorena, acutely aware of Tawa's roving eyes, flushed and tried to hide her chest with her arms. Unfortunately, it did little good. Don't stare. I can't help it. Your breasts are so large, I don't know where else to look. You have breasts of your own. If you want to stare at them. Yes, but mine are nowhere as near as large as yours. It's interesting. Interesting? From a scientific perspective. Lorena had no idea what branch of science Tawa was referring to, but it sounded sketchy at best, downright illegal at worst. I think she means more like the biology, whatever. The younger maid sighed, letting her arms fall limply to her sides. There was little point trying to hide her breast from Tawa. It was too little, too late. Tawa had already watched Lorena strip and get into the bathtub, and Lorena's breasts were too large to successfully hide it with her arms anyway. All she had done in her attempts to preserve her modesty was push her breasts together so that they looked bigger than before. To be honest, having breasts like this is kind of a pain. I'm worried I'll end up like the cook if I'm not careful. Oh, I can imagine. You must get such awful backache, particularly with your slight, slender frame. Fetching and carrying things for the ever-delightful Lady Constant can hardly help. It does hurt sometimes, actually. Do you want me to massage your shoulders? Massage? Just like this. Lorena gasped, her eyelashes fluttering, as Tawa began to knead her fingertips into her skin. Lukewarm water continued to drip down Lorena's back. It trickled in a steady stream between her shoulder blades and trailed across each vertebrae of her spine. Does it feel good? Tawa's voice was low, softer than a whisper, and Lorena couldn't bring herself to respond with words. She was afraid if she did, the spell would be broken, though Lorena wasn't sure when the magic had been cast. The younger maid bit back a whimper. Tawa giggled. You're so cute, my little Lori. Although, I suppose you're not so little after all. Lorena squeaked. Tawa had just prodded her left breast with the tip of her finger. The older maid's peach-colored nail sunk into the ample expanse of exposed flesh. My saccharine sweetmeats are at it again. Holy crap. When she drew her fingertip away, Lorena's breast jiggled. Lorena glared, indignant. Her upper and lower lip pursed into a ferocious pout. Why did you do that? I don't know. Tawa smiled innocently and cupped her cheek with one hand. I couldn't help myself. They look so inviting. They're not for you to play with. Does that mean you play with them? Lorena opened and closed her mouth, but no words came out. Just sounds. Choked, spluttering noises of indignation mixed with embarrassment. Oh, you're so darling, my not-so-little Lori. This is a face Vermeer would trip over himself to paint, and I don't blame him. Tawa shuffled backwards and made a frame with both her thumbs and forefingers. She positioned it so Lorena's huffy, blushy expression of indignation was set in the center. Why are you like this? I already told you. I can't help myself. You should learn. It just won't do, staring at staring at other girls like a hungry wolf. You wound me, Lori. I don't stare indiscriminately. I only stare at people I like. Lorena felt her heart fluttering. Her stomach tightened itself up in knots. She directed her gaze downwards at the coral pink islands of her knees. You like me? Of course, silly. And I rather think you like me too. You must. And how did you come to that conclusion? Well, I flatter myself that I have a reasonable amount of intelligence. No more than average, perhaps. Or, well, slightly above average. But not to flatter yourself, of course. Of course not. I'm simply giving an unblemished, unobscured recounting of the facts. The facts. The facts being that you kissed me earlier this week, and you seem to have forgotten all about it. Well... Now how else am I supposed to interpret that? You weren't toying with my heart, were you? No, I wasn't. Then you were being serious? I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking enough, obviously. Let's not talk about what you were thinking. What were you feeling? Before I kissed you? Before, during, after? Whatever takes your fancy. I just want to understand what happened. I want to understand you. Well, what had she felt before the kiss? She couldn't remember. But during the kiss, it felt nice. Nice was a bit of an understatement. It was a pathetic summarization of a wealth of emotions, but Lorena wasn't sure how else to phrase it. Nice, was it? Yes, really nice. So if kissing me felt nice, perhaps you might want to feel even nicer. Does that sound like a good suggestion? How? Oh, be still, my beating heart. Tawa wound a strand of Lorena's still damp hair about her index finger. The younger maid's hair was darker than usual, dyed from the wetness of the bath water. Do you not have any, how shall I phrase it, intimate experience? Lorena shifted, her face darkened. All of a sudden, she remembered. Arthur Pickering and his unhealthy fixation on her, and her eyes, and her hair. He told her that she had beautiful hair. The memory was enough to make Lorena feel ill. Oh, Lorena? Noticing Lorena's sudden discomfort, Tawa drew her fingers back. She glanced at the younger girl curiously, her eyes tinged with concern. I didn't go too far, did I? No, Lorena shook her head. The ghostly memories of Arthur in the library and his fingers in her hair, fingers against the front of her dress were gone. She just wanted to think about Tahua. Poor Lori. I suppose... She drew in a breath. I'd be lying if I said I had no experience, but it isn't the experience I want to remember. I see. Tahua nodded as though she knew. Maybe she did. Everyone else seemed to. Pauline had called Lorena a slut. Had she really meant it? Was that what everybody else thought of her? What about Tahua? But, I've never been kissed or kissed anybody else before. Not until I kissed you, at least. Well, how about this? Tahua leant in close and pressed their lips together for the second time. This kiss was every bit as soft and gentle as the first, and Tahua's lips did not linger, though Lorena wished they would. There. Tahua drew back, smiling proudly to herself. Now I've stolen your second kiss, too. But you, what? Lorena's mind was hazy and nothing quite made sense, but she was still able to eke out a few words of dissent. You didn't steal my first kiss. Like I said, I was the one who kissed you. Tahua waved one hand dismissively. A trivial point. It's not trivial. Then I'll kiss you so much it will make it so. Kiss me however much you want. It won't change the truth. I intend to. I haven't even started yet, my Lori. Then you... Lorena's heart pounded harder and harder. It seemed to be working overtime to color her cheeks a bright cherry red. You're going to do it again? If you want. Well... Don't you like it? I do. Then why don't we keep going? Lorena looked at Tahua shyly from beneath her eyelashes. When she'd kissed Tahua, she'd been so overtaken by emotion she hadn't really had time to process things. When Tahua had kissed her, it had started and stopped so suddenly Lorena had barely been afforded the time to respond. Now, Tahua was giving her a choice. She had enough time to really think about what she wanted. Lorena could refuse Tahua's advances, as all good Christian girls should have done. Or she could accept them. What was the harm in accepting? She'd already come this far, so... Maybe I could try it. Just one more time. Just once? Tahua pouted. Well, maybe more? Then, if you don't mind. Tahua dipped her head. Her fingers slid beneath Lorena's chin as she pressed their lips together. This kiss was more urgent than the last. Almost forceful. Lorena whimpered into the kiss, and Tahua used this to her advantage. She slid her tongue deep inside Lorena's mouth. Lorena understood her situation logically, but her mind couldn't process it. Tahua's tongue was coiled about her own, and the sounds it made were wet. Wetter even than the water that sloshed inside the tin bathtub. Lorena wanted Tahua to keep kissing her, over and over again. She didn't want her to stop. Tawa. Lorena arched her back and mewed helplessly into Tawa's mouth. The older maid drew back, wiping her mouth with the back of her arm, and smiled at Lorena fondly. You're so adorable, Lori. I am? Definitely. You look even more adorable when you're like this. Like what? Your lips are swollen from kisses and your face is all red. I'm fine. If you say so, dear. Lorena pouted, but deep down, she knew Tawa was right. She felt short of breath, and no matter how she inhaled, her lungs didn't seem to be filling with enough oxygen. She was pressed against the side of the bathtub, squirming with unrealized want. She rubbed her thighs together, hardly knowing what she was doing. The coolness of the tin bathtub contrasted sharply with Lorena's warm skin. She shivered. Tawa reached forwards, dipping her fingers into the bathwater, and took Lorena's fingers with her own. You belong to me, you know? I'm yours? Yes, all mine. When did you decide that? When you let me kiss you? Tawa. Yes, my Lori, what is it? It feels good. Then. One of Tawa's hands started to massage Lorena's right breast. Her other hand, meanwhile, began to play with Lorena's unresisting body. Her fingertips trailed across Lorena's wet flesh. They caressed the curve of her stomach, the shallow dip of her belly button, and the inside of her thighs. The whole while, Lorena trembled like a tempest-tossed flower. During their shared kisses and caresses, Lorena's legs had slipped open, though she was probably unaware of the fact herself. Just like she was unaware of how openly, almost obscenely appealing she looked. Lori, do you want to keep going? Lorena's body responded before her mind had truly processed the question. She nodded limply, her face flushed. Are you sure? Tawa's fingertips rested against the inside of Lorena's thigh. She pressed down, applying the smallest amount of pressure. Lorena inhaled. Her head was swimming. I want you. To do what? I hardly even know, just, Lorena shuddered. All thoughts of heaven and hell had been driven from her head. At that moment, all she knew was that she wanted Tawa. She wanted her so badly that it ached. Just keep going. Lorena blinked up at Tawa with large, dewy eyes. Her eyelashes trembled. Please? Well, now, how can I deny you when you ask so nicely? The fingers of Tawa's left hand trailed lower and lower. Lorena's back tensed. Tawa's fingers were so close now, close to the most private part of her body. And yet, all of a sudden, they stopped. Why did they stop? Tawa leaned in a little closer. Her lips were inches away from the shell of Lorena's ear. I can't take this back, Lori. Our relationship will change if you let me have my way with you. You know that, right? I know. And you don't mind? No, I want it. Please? Well then. Tawa Tawa's lips curled upwards in a soft smile. Unlike her typical smiles, it wasn't cruel or conniving or even particularly mischievous. If you're willing to let me do what I want, who am I to deny you? I can be cruel at times, but I'm not cruel enough to leave such a pretty young girl hanging. Tawa. Tawa. My Lori, I will make you mine, every last little bit. Alright, and I'm gonna leave that episode right there. This video is gonna be a little longer than the typical like 30 minutes that I've been trying to aim for. But if I mean, it would either be this one or the next video that end up being around 50 minutes long, probably. Because the whole like bathtub scene was like almost like 20 minutes long. I really like the direction that the writing is sort of moving in. It's not, I mean, to be honest, I don't really have anything to complain about in the writing. I was a bit surprised to like this whole like bathtub scene. Like I said earlier, I thought Tawa was gonna push Lorena into like the crops and then like kiss her, but it was a lot more than that. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!